Hey everyone, and welcome to today's deep dive. You know, it's funny, we spend like a third of our lives asleep, but most of us, we barely even understand what's going on in our brains when we finally hit the pillow. So that's what we're tackling today. We're going to dig into sleep and, we're also going to look at CBD and how it might play a role in all of this. You guys sent in a ton of articles, research, the whole nine yards, so let's untangle this sleepy mystery.
What I find really fascinating is how sleep science is showing us that sleep is not just some passive thing. It's like your brain is throwing a silent rave every night, all these different stages, each with its own rhythm, its own purpose. It's wild.
Okay, silent rave. Now you've got me curious. Tell me more about these stages, because I think a lot of people, they just assume it's snoring and then boom, straight to dreamland.
Oh, not even close. Think of it this way. Stage one, that's like the hazy borderland, where you're drifting off. Your muscles are relaxing, brainwaves are slowing down, like the overture before the main performance.
Mm-hmm.
And then we slide into stage two. Body temperature drops, heart rate slows down. Your brain's basically getting you prepped for the big event. Deep sleep.
Ah, yes. Stage three. That deep restorative sleep we all desperately need. The kind where you could sleep through a thunderstorm, a marching band, anything.
You got it. And here's the wild part. During stage three, your brain is generating these slow, rhythmic delta waves. Think of them like those deep ocean swells you see on an EEG. Researchers think this is when our bodies really kick into overdrive. Cell renewal, muscle repair, it's like a nightly spa treatment for your whole system.
Wow, delta waves. It's like our brains are conducting an entire orchestra while we're out cold. But then, just when you think it's all about the deep sleep, things shift, and we enter the world of dreams.
Yeah. Exactly. REM sleep. Brain activity starts to resemble wakefulness again. This is where we process emotions, consolidate memories, and of course have those strange, sometimes Oscar-worthy dreams.
It's incredible how much our brains are doing when we're supposedly out cold. So knowing all this, why should we even care about these different stages? What does it mean for someone who, let's say, wants to get better sleep?
That's a fantastic question, and it gets to the heart of why understanding these sleep stages is so empowering. Imagine trying to improve your diet. Wouldn't it be helpful to understand the different food groups, what they do? Sleep is kind of similar. Knowing your sleep cycles, it helps you make choices to encourage those restorative deep sleep and REM phases. And that means better quality rest overall and all the benefits that come with it.
It's like having the instruction manual for our own sleep. But let's flip the script for a second. We've talked about the good stuff, what happens when we sleep well. But what about when we don't? We've all had those nights, tossing and turning or pulling an all-nighter.
Right, those occasional short nights are totally relatable. But consistently missing out on sleep, even by an hour or two, it can have this domino effect on your well-being.
Yeah.
It's not just feeling a little tired. There's tons of research linking chronic sleep deprivation to some serious stuff. Increased risk of heart disease, diabetes, even some types of cancer.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot more serious than I think most people realize. Most of us just brush off those sleepless nights like it's no big deal. But what you're saying is it's not just about feeling tired the next day. It has long-term effects on our health.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think of it like this. Driving your car for months without changing the oil. Sure, it might seem fine at first, but eventually that neglect is going to catch up to you. Sleep is our body's essential maintenance period, and when we cut it short, things start to break down. And the scary part is, many people don't even realize how sleep deprived they are. They blame their daytime struggles on other things, when really it's lack of sleep.
You mentioned a ton of research. Anything that really stood out to you? Something that would make people listening really think, okay, I need to make sleep a priority.
There was this fascinating study through the University of Pennsylvania. They found that even just 4 hours of sleep a night for a week, it led to major problems with thinking, mood, even physical health. The participants, they didn't even realize how much they were declining. It's like sleep deprivation sneaks up on you.
Wow, it's like our bodies are waving red flags, but we're too tired to notice.
And it's not just our physical health. Sleep deprivation messes with our mental well-being too. Higher rates of anxiety, depression, trouble concentrating, remembering things. It's like our brains are running on fumes.
Yeah, that whole brain fog thing is way too real. And you know what? Now that you mention it, it's like this vicious cycle. Bad sleep causes stress, and then that stress makes it harder to sleep.
Exactly. It's a tough cycle to break. And I bet a lot of our listeners know that feeling, lying awake at night, worrying about work, relationships, that never-ending to-do list, it just keeps swirling around in your head.
It's like we can't turn our brains off, even when our bodies need a break. But okay, before we go too far down that road, Let's talk about solutions, because I know there's got to be some light at the end of this sleep-deprived tunnel.
Absolutely. The human body is amazing. It can heal and bounce back in ways you wouldn't believe. And improving your sleep, that can be a huge part of that.
So it's not like a one-way street, like once you've lost sleep, it's gone forever. We can actually undo some of that damage by getting back on track.
For the most part, yeah. Once you start prioritizing sleep, giving your body the rest it needs, those repair processes, they kick right back in. You'll probably notice a difference in your mood, your energy, even how clearly you're thinking. And those long-term risks we talked about, heart disease, diabetes, those can be seriously reduced by just adopting healthier sleep habits.
Okay, that's definitely reassuring. But how do we actually do that? Where do we even start?
That's where those listener sources come in. Remember we talked about natural sleep aids earlier? Well, there's one in particular that's been getting a lot of attention lately, CBD.
Ah, CBD. Right, we can't forget about CBD. I've heard so much about it, but I have to admit, I'm still a little fuzzy on what it actually is, how it works, all that. It seems like everyone's talking about it, athletes, yogis, you name it. So can you break it down for us? What exactly is CBD?
Absolutely. CBD, short for cannabidiol, is a natural compound found in the cannabis plant. Now, here's the key thing, and I really want to emphasize this. CBD is non-psychoactive. That means it won't get you high.
Okay, good to clarify, because I think there's still a lot of confusion about that. So if it doesn't get you high, what does it do? How could it help with sleep?
To understand that, we need to talk about this really cool system in your body you might not have heard of, the endocannabinoid system, or ECS for short. This system is like your body's control center. It regulates a ton of stuff. Sleep, mood, appetite, even how you perceive pain.
Wow, the endocannabinoid system sounds kind of like a secret society living inside us.
Kind of, yeah. And that's where CBD comes in. It interacts with the endocannabinoid system. And it can actually reduce anxiety, help you relax, and that indirectly improves your sleep quality.
So it's like CBD is whispering to our internal control center, telling those sleep signals to land safely.
That's a great way to put it. By calming things down, reducing those racing thoughts that keep us up, CBD can help clear the way for a more restful sleep. And this is where something you were particularly curious about comes in. CBD-infused honey.
Yes, CBD-infused honey. It's like something out of Winnie the Pooh's dreams. I'm intrigued. But why honey? What's the connection there?
Well, think about it. Honey itself has always been soothing. Remember those childhood nights? A warm glass of milk and honey before bed? There's a reason for that. Honey naturally has tryptophan, an amino acid that helps your body produce serotonin and melatonin. Both of those are essential for regulating sleep.
Ah, so it's like a double whammy of sleep-promoting power, the calming effects of CBD, plus what honey naturally does.
Exactly. It's all about using natural ingredients that work together. And making high-quality CBD-infused honey, it's a careful process. They extract the CBD from the hemp plant and blend it with pure, natural honey. No harsh processing, no artificial stuff. It's all about keeping those natural benefits intact.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, I have to ask, and I know some listeners are wondering the same thing, is CBD safe? Are there side effects we should be aware of?
Yeah, I think that's only natural, right?
Yeah.
With anything new especially, people want to know, is it safe? Are there side effects?
Thing.
Okay, so nothing too scary, but definitely something to be aware of. I guess it comes down to listening to your own body and figuring out what works for you.
For sure. And it's always smart to be cautious, especially with something like CBD. It's interacting with our bodies in these complex ways, you know. But generally speaking, CBD is well tolerated. Most people don't have issues. But like any supplement, there can be side effects, usually pretty mild though. Some people might feel a little drowsy or get dry mouth, maybe some changes in appetite, that kind of thing.
Exactly. And this is where talking to your doctor is so important, especially if you've got any health conditions already or you're on other medications. Pregnant, breastfeeding, all that your doctor can help weigh the pros and cons. Figure out if CBD is right for you personally.
Solid advice. And while we're on the topic of clearing things up, let's address the elephant in the room, CBD, and its, association with marijuana. I think there's still some stigma there, misconceptions that need to be debunked.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Super important to make that distinction. So CBD and THC, they both come from the cannabis plant, but they do very different things. THC is what gets you high. It's the psychoactive part of marijuana. CBD, though, no intoxicating effects whatsoever. In fact, a lot of CBD products these days, they're made from hemp. That's a variety of cannabis that's naturally very low in THC.
So just to be crystal clear, it's not going to have you raiding the fridge at midnight, right?
Not at all. And to put your mind even more at ease, always look for CBD that's been third-party tested. That means an independent lab has checked it out, made sure it's pure and potent, it's got the amount of CBD it claims, and there's no weird contaminants or anything.
Okay, that's good to know. Transparency is key, especially with something like this. Sounds like we got to be savvy shoppers, do our research.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to ask questions, read those labels carefully, and go with brands you trust.
Couldn't agree more. Now, before we wrap things up, I want to circle back to something you said earlier about CBD not being a magic bullet. I think that's so crucial to remember. It's not going to magically fix all our sleep problems overnight, right?
Got it. CBD can be a really helpful tool, but it's part of a bigger picture. Getting good sleep is like a puzzle. There are many pieces. CBD might be one, but you've also got to think about your bedtime routine, managing stress, getting enough exercise, even the environment you're sleeping in. All of that matters.
It's those healthy sleep habits we always hear about, but sometimes forget. Like dimming the lights before bed, ditching our phones for a while, actually letting ourselves unwind.
Exactly. You got to create that peaceful space for sleep, both mentally and physically.
I love that, a sleep sanctuary. Sounds so inviting. Well, on that note, I think we've covered a ton today. The science of sleep cycles, CBD, the benefits, the what ifs, everything. We've learned that sleep is active, it's essential, and it affects our whole well-being. And most importantly, understanding it gives us the power to make better choices.
It's been a truly eye-opening deep dive. And remember, knowledge is only as good as what we do with it.
So true. So as you wind down tonight, think about one small step you can take towards better sleep. Maybe it's that calming bedtime ritual, or trying CBD-infused honey, or just putting your phone away earlier. Whatever it is, we hope this deep dive has given you the knowledge and inspiration to make sleep a priority. Sleep well, everyone.